This is the Farm Monitor. For over 50 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by one of the largest general farm organizations, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Bergamy.
Oh, did you hear that? Over 50 years, your source for agribusiness news and features. Actually, we're counting down to 55 years, but that's still a ways off for now. Let's just savor the moment. Mr. B, the rundown, please.
Absolutely. Coming up, talk about a bright idea. The innovative company behind this light source says it's helping farmers grow by reducing cost and increasing efficiency. It's being called a milestone for Georgia. Not surprising to some, though, why one expert says it's yet another example of just how resilient both the business sector as well as the ag community really is across the state. Plus,
well, hey everybody, Ranger Nick. Coming up a little bit later, we're talking about a side of 4-H you might not know a whole lot about, and that includes shooting sports. All that and so much more fires off right now on the Farm Monitor.
With energy costs being the major expense for greenhouse owners, efficiency is vital in order for them to run a profitable operation. It's a balancing act that one Georgia-based company is looking to help with by reducing the farmer's lighting cost. Damon Jones now with more from Clark County.
With the farm gate value approaching $500 million every year, greenhouses are one of Georgia's top commodities, growing a variety of fruits, vegetables, and ornamental plants. And one thing they all have in common is their reliance on having enough light for their crop, no matter the season. With energy costs on the rise, Candidus believes they can help farmers cut expenses.
Well, we are developing better tools for growers to provide the amount of supplemental light that they need to provide in their greenhouse to be able to produce crops year-round. Lighting in greenhouses is really expensive, and growers have relatively poor control over how much light they actually provide.
That's the issue this lighting system is hoping to alleviate, as it allows the growers to customize a daily schedule for their plants.
With our control system, we give growers very precise control over how they light their crops, and we make sure that they do not provide more light than what the crop actually needs to grow well. And that helps them save on electricity and increase profits. So what we typically see are energy savings of anywhere between 20 to 40%, and that's without any negative impact on the crops that they grow.
That type of efficiency is possible thanks to the technological advances in the bulbs being used.
When we think about LEDs, we think about the fact that they are much more efficient than old-fashioned technology. But on top of that, LEDs can be very precisely controlled. And that is something that traditionally the greenhouse industry hasn't taken advantage of.
Speaking of technology, Candidus has embraced the importance of being able to control everything remotely.
When you think about lighting in greenhouses, a grower's livelihood is on the line. So if they can simply pull out their phone and look at our app and see that things are working, they can be confident that the crop is growing the way it needs to grow.
As for what kind of crop this system will most benefit, its ability to be customized lends itself to a variety of different options.
We have used it with lettuce, for example, works fine. We're working with an herb grower, a lot of basil especially. Doesn't really matter because the system is so flexible that the grower can tweak all of the settings to make sure that we meet the needs of the crop that they are growing, whatever it is that they grow.
Now, just like any startup, the biggest challenge is getting farmers to give it a chance. It's why they are giving them some encouragement with a discounted trial period.
So the hard part is to get them to give it a try to begin with. So what we do now is for a low price, they get to install the system for 3 months, they can try it on a small scale, and they can see what the system can do for them.
Reporting from Clark County, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
Meantime, despite 2020 being a rough year, Georgia's export numbers are proof positive that your present situation doesn't have to be your final destination. That in reference to the fact that Georgia ranked among the top 10 exporting states for the first time ever. A milestone, of course, that came during a global pandemic. Our John Holcomb has more now on how agricultural exports contributed to those numbers.
In the past few years, Georgia has slowly been making a name for itself in the world of trade. That work has finally paid off, as the state was recently named into the top 10 exporting states in the country. But as the 2020 Georgia Global Trade Summary shows, it didn't come without some challenges from the pandemic.
2019 was a record year both for total trade overall, but also for exports. And so we knew that we were going to come down a little bit, but really our exports were only off just less than 6%, which in and of itself is pretty good news. And we did much better than the US as a whole, where exports were down about 13% across the country. So that's good news. And really among the top 10 exporting states, Georgia's exports declined the least. And so really the story for 2020 is about the resilience of the business community across the state, and that definitely carries through into agricultural exports as well.
Georgia's agricultural reputation has really drawn some attention over the years, earning the spot as the 9th largest agricultural exporting state in the country, as international markets have realized the value in Georgia-grown products, which according to Waters can explain why Georgia Ag ended up having only a small decline in 2020.
We've really been in the $4 billion range for Georgia Ag for the last 3 or 4 years. And this year we came in at about $4.25 billion in agricultural exports, which again, given everything that's been going on with our, for our farmers and producers over the last several years, really the fact that, more than 10% of all of Georgia's merchandise exports are agriculture related. That's a big story, and it's been steady. Which is really great to see. But when you look at the longer term trends and what the growth of agricultural exports from Georgia from the last 15 years, our exports have nearly tripled. They're up 187%.
Waters says another factor for ag having a good export year was because the state was in a good position before the pandemic hit, which she says can be attributed to the first phase of the China trade deal being signed.
For 2020 specifically, we did see a huge rebound in ag exports to China coming out of the phase 1 deal that was signed in January of 2020. And that was really good to see. There was a return of market access for poultry. There was a spike in cotton imports in China, peanuts, tree nuts that nearly doubled from the export values from last year.
She also says that it helps that Georgia's export markets are diversified and says that they want to keep building on that going forward.
The top 5 customers for Georgia Ag were China, Canada, Mexico, Vietnam in 2020, and the United Kingdom. So again, a lot of diversity, a lot of ground to cover there in those markets. But really great to see that, again, we're not just focused on a single region of the world or a single country.
Reporting in Atlanta for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
In other ag news, she's the reigning Georgia Farm Bureau Ag Teacher of the Year. Well, now Cherokee County's Karen Garland will have to make room for even more hardware on the mantle. Karen recently chosen as one of 8 recipients for the 2021 National Excellence in Teaching About Ag Award. In June, Karen, along with the others, will be honored at the 2021 National Ag in the Classroom Conference in Des Moines, Iowa.
Hey everybody, Ranger Nick. Coming up, I'm taking aim at an important 4-H program in Georgia that involves archery and shotguns, and we're keeping things on target next.
Hi, my name is Mike Miller. I'm Supervisory Chemist here with the USDA Agricultural Marketing Services, Laboratory Approval and Testing Division, Science and Technology at the National Science Laboratory located here in Blakely, Georgia. We also have a satellite laboratory that's located in Dawson, Georgia, which I also supervise. We have a staff here, and my staff and myself work on primarily peanut products. When peanuts come in from the field, they're brought to shellers, and we work with those shellers who work night and day to make sure that the peanuts that they're receiving can be produced and put into the edible market. Those peanuts require some testing, and so here at the laboratory, we help out with that testing and provide those shellers with the information that they need to better market their products. We also do a lot of quality testing on peanuts that are going to go and be processed into peanut oil. So we have a couple different things that we do here in the laboratory related to the peanut industry. We also support AMS and other parts of the government, including the Department of Defense, with analysis of nuts that are going to be used in products that go into military food. So it's important to me, and I really love my job here because I feel like I have a direct impact on South Georgia and the agriculture here by helping these companies better market their products, and also ensuring the safety of the peanuts that are going out into the marketplace and making sure that they don't have certain levels of dangerous carcinogenic chemicals that could be harmful to the public. So we really enjoy our work here. My staff is really great staff. They're very hardworking. We're a small family, but we really get along and work really hard to make sure that the work we do has an impact that reaches far beyond the laboratory.
Well, I don't know about you, but when I think about 4-H, maybe I think about public speaking, maybe I think about livestock competitions, but probably you don't think about shooting sports, archery, shotgun. It was new to me before today, and I want to introduce you to somebody who knows a thing or two about archery, and that's Danny Pincus. Hey, Danny.
Hey.
Good to meet you. I'm so
too.
glad to be out here with you today. We're here at Rock Eagle 4-H Center. Danny, you're a 16-year veteran archery coach here in Georgia.
Right.
You know a lot about this stuff. I know nothing, and about many things, but I know nothing about archery. And in Georgia, 4th through 12th graders are involved in this stuff. Danny, I'm going to be a 4th grader today. I want you to help walk me through the process of being safe and being able to pick up this compound bow and shoot it into that target over there. So what do we got to do first?
First thing we want to do is make sure we're safe, make sure we're putting you in the proper equipment for you.
Good.
So
okay.
we've already checked eye dominance,
Okay.
right? And the next thing we need to do, we know you're left eye dominant.
Which is interesting to learn. I'm right-handed, but Danny taught me I'm left eye dominant. Cool. Okay.
Yep. Next thing we want to do is make sure our arrows are long enough for you to use. Right. So I'm going to touch you in your chest, reach out with your hands, and the arrow comes past his fingertips. Therefore, this arrow is safe enough for him to use.
Excellent.
Because if it was too short, bad things happen.
The arrow would fall off the end of the bow.
Correct.
Okay.
You would pull farther than the arrow is long.
Into my foot. That's
yep.
right.
Okay, so we know you're left hand dominant, so we're going to set you up with a left-handed bow.
All right. Now, what is so interesting that you said a left-handed bow, yet I'm holding this compound bow, 4-H green, by the way, with my right hand. Okay.
Right, because you're going to do most of your work with your left hand.
All right.
Okay. So what we want to do is come back here, and we want to stand in front of the target.
That's important, in front of the target.
In front of the target.
Yes.
Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to rotate to where we're square with the target.
So
instead of facing
the
target the other way.
Okay.
You're left-handed, so let's go a little bit more right here. Now, go back towards the target. There you go. Excellent. You hit the target with your first shot.
And not a car in the background.
That is awesome. Right, right.
Now, isn't this important? I know nothing about this, and yet Danny has encouraged me with his feedback. You saw the way he was giving me personal attention and teaching me this. Literally, before now, I have never done this. We didn't practice this. So being able to get that kind of mentoring, that kind of individual attention, you have worked with kids that have gone on to national competitions doing this, that knew nothing to start.
That knew nothing.
It's incredible. That's the power of 4-H in this kind of thing. I want to move next to shotgun sports. Oh goodness, they're going to put a gun in my hand now. You saw the way I was with a bow. Danny, this is great. Let's check that out next. Well, from bows and arrows to shotguns and shells, you know, I was a 4th grader before, and now I'm a 7th grader, obviously grown a little bit. And I've also grown to become a friend with Dr. Brian Keeper. Hey, Dad.
Hey.
Dr. Keeper is an associate professor of poultry science at UGA during the day.
I am.
On the side, you are a 14-year veteran Project Safe shotgun coach. Is that right?
That is correct.
So to have a person like this today to walk me through using a firearm, we are going to assume today, Doc, I have never touched one of these things before, and I think that's what's so important for the folks at home. This is something in 4-H that someone with no experience in this can do and learn how to do it safely. So Doc, I've heard about this idea of MAT, in the context of working with a firearm like this. Walk me through that before I'm about to pick this up.
Okay, Nick. So you know, M stands for muzzle.
Okay.
We're always going to know where the muzzle of this shotgun is pointed to be safe. A stands for action. This action area of the shotgun is where the shell goes in. As long as that action is open, Nick, that gun is safe. It can't fire. And ultimately, T is trigger. We never put our finger on that trigger till we're ready to fire the shotgun. I notice you got eye and ear protection.
Yes, sir.
We're ready to go. I've got mine ready to go. But as long as you understand that MAT, Nick, let's pick this shotgun up, let's be comfortable with it, and let's walk up to the firing line.
Okay, and the firing line's right over here, so I'm going to pick this up, watching the muzzle, finger not on the trigger, walking right over here as a beginner. All right.
So here we are at the firing line. I know you were with Danny over at archery, and he had you stand perpendicular to the field of fire.
Right.
But for shotgun, we're not going to do that. We've got a wide range of a field here that we've got to be able to hit targets on. So we're going to square our stance up a lot more. And we're going to be athletic. I like the stance that you got there. That front foot out a little bit forward.
Right.
A little bit more than half your weight setting forward. Go ahead and set the butt of that shotgun up into your shoulder and lock that cheek down onto that butt, staring down the muzzle,
yes, sir,
that range. From this point forward, Nick, I want your hands, your arms, your head, that shotgun, and your upper body to move as one.
Pull. Well, how about this for youth development? From archery to shotgun, Project Safe, and all with a positive, caring adult mentor. What an incredible time today. And through all this, I don't have any additional holes in me or any of us. So it's a good thing today. I got to give a shout out to Craven Hudson. Craven has been behind the scenes putting all this stuff together for us today, a 4-H specialist and shooting sports coordinator. Craven, thanks so much
You're
for that.
welcome.
And Brian, thanks so much for doing this with us today.
Time.
It was a blast. And while you're online, checking out some of the old Farm Monitor episodes and the Ranger Nick episodes, hop on over to the Farm Monitor Facebook page, check out the Ranger Nick Facebook page and all the stuff we got going on. And until next time, guys, as I always like to say, for the Farm Monitor, I'm Ranger Nick, reminding you that enthusiasm is contagious. So pass it on. Y'all, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you right back here again this time next month. See ya.
Up next, how a rise in fuel prices resulted in this Wilcox County farmer finding his way into the culinary world.
Hi, my name is Clay Oliver, and I'm with Oliver Farm Artisan Oils, and we're here in Pitts, Georgia. So I was raised here on our family farm here in Pitts and grew up helping my dad, Randy, with all the chores that he would give us. And, you know, we grew many diverse crops then, cotton, peanuts, we had grain, corn. We grew hogs when I was younger. We had hogs, we had cows, and just kind of grew over the years. And as the commodities kind of shifted, we kind of focused more on the row crops like cotton and peanuts, and we kept the cows. And though my brother Clint and I had always helped my daddy with his crops, we gradually wanted to get out on our own, and in 2005 we rented a farm a few miles from home and began working that together. And we farmed together from 2005 up until about 2016. And we focused on cotton and peanuts was our main crops, growing a little grain in between. Growing up on the farm, I'm a fifth generation on my daddy's side to live and work here. So very proud of that, and you know, we have such a connection to the land that, you know, farming's just in your blood, it's in your blood. And just love growing the crops, seeing the cycle of from seed to, you know, first growth to the harvest time. It's just a beautiful cycle, and it's different every year, though it's always the same, and that's the part I just really love about farming. 2008 was a pretty pivotal year for us. In the spring of that year, my daddy passed away suddenly from a heart attack. And as the farm was dealing with that, and my brother Clint, my mother Jerice, and I, we managed to weather that storm and continue going. And that's also the year that the economy tanked and fuel prices skyrocketed. And that's when there was a lot of talk about biofuels and alternative sources for fuel. And I just got to thinking, you know, what could I grow on the farm to supplement our diesel fuel bills? Because it was really hurting us during that harvest time. And that seed was planted, and I just began doing homework and research on how I could turn something we grew into fuel. And I fortunately met some people along the way that just said to me, you know, maybe think about food grade oil. And I was like, wow, okay. And fuel prices gradually went back down, and that desire though to do something with oil was just in my head. So the more I studied on it, I decided I was gonna try to make food grade oils. I started initially with sunflowers because I thought that would be the easiest for me to manage. And we quickly that fall got some peanuts, and I pressed peanuts and pecans by the end of 2012. We were doing those pretty consistently. And we've kind of expanded since then to add some specialty things and different oils that, you know, maybe we don't grow the seeds like the pumpkin seeds or Benny seed, but we just really do some unique oil seeds. To make the peanut oil, we extract the oil by screw presses, and during that process, the oil is extracted, and then what comes out is dry proteins, the meat of the peanut, minus the oil. So we then take that and run it through a flour mill and grind it down really, really fine into this, we call it flour. Some people might call it peanut powder or, you know, dehydrated peanuts, whatever. But it's a really fine flour that happens to be gluten-free. And we found that a lot of people are interested in that for celiac disease or whatever intolerance they have. So this offers them a tasty alternative to some of the other gluten-free flours that are on the market. I love peanut cookies with them. They're my favorite.
Big thanks to the Georgia Peanut Commission for that, and thank you for making this show possible.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time right here on the Farm Monitor. Have a great week.